Let's now shift our attention to Sri Lanka, where the surging economic crisis has resulted in citizens facing very long queues in accessing even basic commodities. There are violent protests that have rocked the country, and there's also a continuous call to try and topple the government. Despite months-long turmoil, the situation in Sri Lanka is nowhere close to getting resolved. The staunch critics of the Rajapaksas, one of the most powerful families in the island nation, have blamed their leadership for driving Lanka into unprecedented economic crisis, which has resulted in the country having exhausted its foreign exchange reserves. And amidst the outrage, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa continues to serve in his office and has also issued a Gazette Extraordinary, bringing 3 institutions under the purview of the Investments Promotion Ministry, headed by Minister Dhamika Pereira. Meanwhile, the Buddhist monks, a powerful group of the island nation, have also taken to the streets and have called for the resignation of President Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Federation of University Teachers Association also staged a protest via a cycle parade. Now, all of this, of course, has been done to try and create pressure on the establishment of an all-party government to resolve the current crisis in the country. Meanwhile, the Sarva Paksha Aragala Karu, a civil organization that supports the Gota Go Home agitation, organized a conference. Several opposition political parties, civil organizations, trade unions and also the general public participated in the meeting. That the organization is going to stage protests on the 9th of July. It's also come up with a 4-point proposal during the conference seeking the resignation of the incumbent President and the Prime Minister. It also seeks the abolishment of the incumbent government, the establishment of an all-party government, and no member of parliament has been accused of corruption. And lastly, the interim government would last only for a period of an year to resolve the ongoing crisis. And this comes after another individual died while waiting in a fuel queue. A 60-year-old 3-wheel driver died while he was waiting in line at a fuel station in Payagala. The Sri Lankan citizens have been lining up for fuel for several days now, owing to the country's acute fuel crisis. The island nation has already announced a 2-week-long halt on public transportation. In a ray of hope for the cash-strapped nation, 2 representatives from a Russian oil company arrived in Sri Lanka on Thursday. Now, the Russian delegates came after President Rajapaksa's telephonic conversation with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, seeking the import of fuel on credit. Now, Sri Lanka's gross official reserves are said to be about $1.9 billion at the end of June. The Central Bank of Lanka has warned against possible rise in inflation up to 70% in the coming months. The country had increased its policy rate by about 125 basis points to try and tame the 13-year high inflation. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.